All right, glad to have you back. Despite Minister of Labour and Employment, that's Mr. Simon Lalong's appeal to the Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress of Nigeria to shelve the planned strike, assuring them that the federal government is determined to address the concerns raised. Leaders of both unions say the indefinite strike will commence on Tuesday, October 3rd. The minister also noted that one of the major demands of the union has been met and urged the workers' union to give the government a little more time to address the other issues. On the flip side, the unions insist that the indefinite nationwide strike is to protest the federal government's failure to address the suffering and other socioeconomic hardships occasioned by the removal of petrol subsidy, of course, on premium auto spirit, commonly known as petrol. Let's talk more around this and get some facts of what we should expect moving on. The General Secretary of the National Union of Banks, Insurance and Financial Institutions Employees, Mr. Mohammed Sheikh, is live in the studio. GS, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for your time.
Good to see you again.
Yes, it's been a while.
Yes.
We are now seeing when there's a planned strike. So what is the update? Tell us, what is happening? For me, I know that some things need to be put right. Let's tell ourselves the truth. But why do we always have to get to the point of downing tools before we settle the issues?
Well, let me start by saying the strike, by any definition, is the last resort. So both the Trade Union Congress, the Nigerian Labour Congress, don't want to always talk about strike unless it becomes very, very inevitable. So it is not a comforting thing for them to say they want to go on strike, because they know, both the Trade Union Congress, the NLC, know the implications that strike brings. But sometimes when it becomes inevitable, when it becomes necessary, as a result of the fact that maybe we appear to engage in a monologue where you appear to discuss with your social partner and they don't seem to understand, you don't seem to get the required response from them, or they seem to turn deaf ears to all the issues, all the very fundamental issues that are being raised. So strike is always the last option. So, and the organized labor are not always comfortable embarking on that path unless it becomes necessary. So it's not that it is strike that we always want to
You are operating in the banking and financial institutions. You know it's always a different kettle of fish because you are very strategic. Your role is just like us in the media, the police and all of that. We are essential services. But you are going to join this strike now, considering what NLC is saying. What do you think is the implication of this?
Well, first and foremost, we are a trade union, National Union of Banks, Insurance and Financial Institutions Employees. Are an affiliate of the Nigerian Labour Congress, one of the affiliates of the Nigerian Congress. And once a decision is taken by the Central Working Committee and the National Executive Council of the Congress, it's an obligation on all the affiliates to ensure that those resolutions are carried forward, are carried on by the various affiliates. So it is not that we know we are strategic. We know financial industry is a very strategic industry. We know also what the implication of strike will do to the industry, not only to that industry really, but to all other industry. But they are, like I said, when an action is determined or decided by the National Executive Council and the Central Working Committee of the Congress, which we are affiliates to, we are bound by such decisions. So we can't insulate ourselves and say because we are strategic or because we are a sensitive industry and therefore others can embark on that strike while we sit and watch as it plays out. So it's not done like that.
But let's look at this. In some cases, we've seen distribution of palliatives. to state governments, or state governors are already distributing palliatives. And I think we expect some money still to be paid to government. I think it was supposed to be 5 billion naira each for every state, and a portion of that has been paid. Many are asking, not just even from the media space, even Nigerians have been sending messages, and they are saying that why is Labour not just taking some time to monitor and see how well this will get to the masses, see how well it will trickle down before they embark on that strike. They also cited that we've had some contending issues before now. Labour did not go on strike.
Well, first, government is a continuum. So if there were contending issues before now, and it is now appropriate to address them, you cannot say it is because you are a new government or a different person, so that issue cannot be addressed because it's a continuum. Second, palliative distribution that you are making reference to. All Nigerians know we have gone through several different types of palliatives, which hasn't impacted, especially on the segment of the populace that those palliatives were meant for. The low income earners, the people that are living by the day are the people that are supposed to benefit from those palliatives. But again, when you even look at those palliatives, how many households will those palliatives meet? And how long, how many will those palliatives address? So I think the government have to look at some kind of fundamental structure that the Labour has always canvassed and advanced before them, for them to do it. Why are government shying away from those demands that Labour put down? And those demands are demands that, if government are sincere, they are the demands that can be, it's doable, it's implementable, even at short, medium, and long term. And so, but the Labour, organized Labour, have always tried to ensure that these issues are clearly put before the government, and they have always elicited that government should look at those issues and make concrete arrangement with clear timeline on how those demands will be met. But it appears like the government is acting like an ostrich. Maybe let's bury our head on the sand and then and wish away the problems. The problem cannot be wished away. We have to continue to find ways of addressing it. And the problem actually is when organized labor meets government, they meet government with transparent, open mind. But every time they have meeting, they will say, give us time. Now, if you say, we give you time, and they give you time, between that time and the next time that you will discuss, you're supposed to show certain remarkable something that will show that efforts are being made to address those issues. But if you say, give us time, they give you time, we come back, and we are starting from the same place that we've left. We have not moved from that same place that you said time should be given to you. So it looks like you'll be taking people for granted. And you know what? The Nigerian populace are beginning to look at labor as not being up to their obligation, not being up to their responsibility.
At that point.
They are beginning to look at labor as not coming to their aid, or not providing the succor, the protection that is needed from them. That's how they gradually, because of you go to the government, you talk, You come back, they ask what has happened. We say we give them time to look at those things. You go back again, you come and tell them, and they say, what is now the way forward? You now tell them again, they say, give us time. Then, naturally, they will feel that maybe labor itself is not with the Nigerian populace, it's not with the Nigerian Marxists anymore. So that's the implication of that. And if that is lost, I just hope that it will not be some situation, I don't want to call it anarchy, because if people don't have a group that they trust that will talk with government, that the group will now come out and tell the public that this is what we are doing, or just this is what government is doing. If that confidence is eroded again from the public psyche, then people may begin to say, return to self-help and the rest of it, and you know what that means.
Now, I'm still looking at the fact that there might still be a meeting before that day.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yes,
I know government will not just go to sleep and think that after independence, they're just going to allow labor shut down. But what sort of conversation are you expecting moving on? Yes, I know Comrade Ajero and Comrade Osifo and all of that will be where we actually had a chat yesterday with regards to this, and he made the position known that yes, labor just wants something. But my question would be, what sort of conversations are you expecting now from God? What sort of commitments would you need in labor that might make you guys share this your salt, share your salt
very simple
for some time?
It's very simple. First, there must be goodwill. There must be trust. If the element of trust is not there, then it becomes problematic on even trusting further conversation. But if government commits to, like I say, there are a number of items that the organized labor have put in place. If government commit in a concrete term that we are going to do this, A, B, C, they tick the box, that we are going to do this now, and they commit down that there will be timeline, and for the purpose of trust, they involve the organized labor in the implementation of those resolutions or the demands, then
even in implementation of it,
for the purpose of trust, because if you are there, if representative is there,
that's true.
The representative can always, even if there are challenges or difficulties arising from implementing what was agreed, then the representative can easily tell the people that these are the challenges that are inside. Because some of these things, some of the challenges are challenges that it is when you enter the room, you will discover some of those challenges. And some of those challenges are not challenges that you can even highlight to the public. So that it doesn't make people to lose hope and the rest of it. So some of the challenges have to be managed and the rest of it. So even in the implementation of, for instance, this palliative you talked about, if each state that the palliative or the funds were sent to, and they were able to bring civil society, organized labor in the implementation of it, this civil society and organized labor will be able to help in the process of identifying the segments that those things are critically needed dearly from. And then they move ahead, and that also bolster the confidence of organized labor and other civil society group if they are part of implementation strategy or implementation of those palliatives. So I think that will make the work of government even easier. And, the problem we're having with that is that it looks like we are creating a monster out of subsidy. Various people have said that subsidy in itself, it is not bad because
I wanted to
almost
ask
everywhere.
you. I wanted to ask you your honest opinion about the removal of subsidy.
Yeah.
You know, and many
Because
say it is time for that to go.
Subsidy. Look, even from Obasanjo period, the organized labor was very clear. They made their position. The position are there. They are not saying you should continue with the subsidy or you should keep the subsidy. They are saying this subsidy has been corrupted. The subsidy regime has been corrupted. What it is meant for is no longer addressing those things that those subsidies were meant for. So if that is the case, the reason for why this subsidy is there in the first place, let's fix it. Which is, if we are producing one of the major producers of crude oil, and we cannot refine, we cannot refine the one we need for our consumption.
It's worrisome.
It's worrisome. If we cannot refine the ones we need for our consumption, it's worrisome. So what is the problem that government cannot fix its own refinery? What's the problem that government cannot fix its own refinery? And maybe if some individual within the span of just few years have set up a refinery. So we continue on to import what we have and subsidizing it and causing grievous economic harm to the country and to its citizens. So it's just totally, the organized labor have always said, look, subsidy regime, remove it by any means. But before that, fix the refineries. Because if we fix the refineries, and we are refining at home, nobody will say we are going to import petrol and its associated cost that comes with it.
Well, we're not holding brief for anyone, and time is already fast spent. You agree with me that the previous administration kicked the can down the road. There was no provision for subsidy from the month of June, July. So President Tinubu came in and had to stay with what he meant. So that's why some people are saying, Labour needs to see some of these realities.
Yes, which was why from the beginning, they have meeting, they have conversation. The Labour know that provision were not made in the last budget for the subsidy, which means it was technically taken off the table before Tinubu came in. But like I say, government is a continuum.
So you take liability and all of the...
Yes, you take the whole together. Yes, you take the whole together. But the important thing is demonstrate goodwill. You know, some people were looking at president as a streetwise guy, that he has the capacity to break those people that the government always call cabal and the rest of it in the oil industry. We expect that he should also look at that. The people that were responsible for bastardizing or corrupting that subsidy regime, that every government will come and say, the cabal, few people, cabal. Armed force, they don't have, it looks like they are faceless, they don't have name. Government should demonstrate capacity and say, we know, because the money going out as a subsidy money is government that is approving it. They know where those money has been going on. Yeah. They know who have been collecting those money. And they know they have the capacity to discover, to find out whether those money that have been paid and collected were paid and collected on the job done in accordance with that money that was given. So I think some of this issue, although we know it may be a baggage too heavy for him, but he has to look at that direction ultimately in the end.
Comrade Sheikh, I'll keep a tab on this and we'll see how it plays out over the weekend and hopefully before the strike commences next week. And if I expect there should be a handshake between government and Labour, and let's get the issues trashed once and for all. Thank you so much, Comrade Mohammed Sheikh. He is the General Secretary of the National Union of Banks, Insurance and Financial Institutions Employees. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
All right, then.
Thank you.
Good to be with you again.